Getting state. All right, guys, happy Wednesday, June 7th. This is crazy. Coming to you full of energy, full of excitement, full of passion, and as always, full of gratitude. If you guys watched my stories yesterday, I was able to go and pick up my daughter in Seattle, and she's going to be here for close to a month, and she's going to go home for 2 weeks, and she'll be back here for another 3 weeks. So it's been a litigious battle her whole entire life. I actually didn't meet my daughter until she was 4 years old. And so now, I have a relationship with her. Her mom is batshit crazy. And so anybody out there struggling with, baby daddies, baby mama, whatever it is, custody battles, my heart goes out to you. But at the end of the day, we do what we need to do for our children. So today I'm full of gratitude to see my kids, this morning be able to kiss them and leave, and they're in the same house. And so it just feels really good to tell you how emotional that is to me. I don't have that much time. So I want to share that sentiment with you guys because I'm feeling super, super excited this morning. So as you guys can see, you see it on my face, and you could also see a goatee with a little bit of gray, but it's all good. It's all good. Let's go ahead and get rolling. Dominique Curtis is on this morning. Dominique Curtis, I'm going to have you bring us out on the field today. I don't know where you are. This is a new backdrop. So I'm going to have you bring us out on the field today, and I want you to take us out on the field. I want you to share with us a personal win as well as a professional win from this last week. So I'm going to have you start us off. So Dominique Curtis, it's really good to see your face. I know that you've been baby and dealing with all your listings. So I'm really happy that you're here. So Dominique Curtis, have you take us out on the field today.
Hey everybody, good morning. It is Wednesday the 7th. I woke up today actually thinking I was going to join script role play, but I was like, oh no, it's Wednesday, not Thursday. I just want to touch on waking up and talking very nice to yourself and telling yourself all the good things. If you wake up and like, oh damn, I got to do this, or I got to do that, and it's not a got to, it's I'm blessed to, you woke up today. And so just remember to always talk nice to yourself. And as far as a win, we got into 3 escrows. So that was, a lot of.
Did you say you got into 3 escrows? Because that part cut out.
Correct. Yes, 3 escrows. Yeah. With 3 of our listings, and one of them we did not know, well, we didn't think we would be in escrow this early, but we did, and we are very excited about that. So our win is just staying consistent and touching bases with everybody that came to see the house, making sure that you get in contact with agents that reached out to you, because if you don't do that for your clients, then your house can sit still on the market. So that was a win for me. It's getting 3 deals in escrow. One is at 375, another is at 651, and the other one is at $1,070,000.
Beautiful, beautiful. Congratulations. Let's give her some love. Let's give her some reactions on the screen. Let me ask you, Dominique, and we won't go too far on this. We'll, we want to save a lot of this for the team meeting, but where's your business coming from?
It's coming from using Team Fast as my community, if we're just being quite honest. So using this platform to collaborate with other agents.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so what do you have on the market for active listings right now?
So right now we have, what do we have on the market that's active? Are they all pending? So we have 2 that we're nurturing right now in Alameda and 1 in Vallejo. And do we have active? No, I think they're all pending now.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Closed a week ago.
Boom. I love this. Well, congratulations. 3 escrows at one time. Love the momentum. Love the message for the day. So let's go ahead and get started, you guys. We have people in the room right now from all different markets, all throughout the Bay Area, Sacramento, and everywhere in between, and some people outside of our market as well. So I wanted to share a study with you that I saw and I read this morning. It said, based on recent study through Zillow, about 55% of consumers right now are going to realtors for financial advice and information prior to the purchase of a home. Now, when you think about that, it's crazy because we're not financial advisors. So check this out. 32% of consumers are actually going to financial institutions. 30% of them are going to websites, and 29% of them are going to friends, colleagues, family members, and neighbors that are know-it-alls and have all the information about the real estate profession. We've all heard of those people. You guys know that there's people in their ears. So what does that say to you guys? that if 55% of consumers are coming to us for information, helping guide them, navigate them through this, how well do you understand that? This is why this information about your message to the market, how you're communicating with the consumer is super, super important. So what I want to hear today is I want to hear the communication that you're having with your consumers, whether you are in Danville, whether you're in Castro Valley, whether you're in Berkeley, Sacramento, wherever you are. The messaging is really what I want to focus on. Like, how are you actually communicating with the consumer? We know that inventory is scarce. We know all that. We know that buyer demand is going up. We know that's going to happen even more as the summer months come on. But how are you actually having this communication about the market? What do you understand about the market? And I want to have this communication because there's people on here that are going to learn something from somebody that spoke today and say, wow, I never looked at it that way. I didn't realize it. And where did you get those resources from? So if you're a team member, spend some time every single day in market updates. Go in that channel and learn and read and apply and watch the videos, and make sure that you're making notes. So when you have communication with the consumer, you guys are spot on with your message to market. So let's do this. I need 5 volunteers as we start this room off today. And I want to understand your market, where you're at, what you're seeing, and what that message to market is right now. So I just need 5 volunteers. If I don't get any volunteers, I'm just going to call in a couple people to get this ball rolling, because I want to hear how you're truly articulating your message to market right now. So let me give you guys 5 seconds to go ahead and throw your hands up just to be a volunteer to talk about what is actually happening in the market. Cool. We got 1. So Jess will go first, and I need 4 other people to volunteer on this conversation. So Jess, take it away. I want you to share with us what you're actually saying, what you know, how you're conveying this information to consumers. Let's go. Let's start it off. Jess Bling.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So with the little bit of context you gave me, no, just kidding. When I'm having conversations with people, I actually do just try to lighten up the mood, to be honest with you, because I feel like the emotion and the stress of what society and what the news tells people is a big part of it. And so I'll tell them that I'm sure you've probably heard, let's address the elephant in the room. What are the things that scare you first? And at the beginning of the call, I asked them about, or I mentioned to them that just like you're interviewing me, I'm interviewing you. And then the first things first, let's get this elephant out of the room. And then from there, we just pretty much, I don't go into problem solving. We talk logistics, and I speak without emotion and more factual information. Right. So,
all right, so I love this. Let's pause for a second. Tell me an example of elephant in the room and how you're talking about that. So what's an elephant in the room that people are, that you're hearing?
Oh my gosh, like it's usually the same common things, right? The market's going to crash, waiting for prices to go down, interest rates are too high. And so it's usually just asking them, well, which of those apply to you? And then if they say, well, what if the market crashes? I say, yeah, so what if it does? And I don't say it like cocky or arrogant, but I kind of joke about it. Like, okay, well, if the market crashed tomorrow, how would that affect you? Oh, well, the home value. Okay, well, do you intend to be in the house for about 5 to 7 years? Oh, yeah, we probably do. Okay, cool. So then we talk them through it. And I say the market very well could crash no matter how much factual information we have. However, if you're in it for the long term, as long as you can pay your mortgage, it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
You just shut up and they'll tell you, no, it's fine, but if they say they want to stay in a house a longer term, then I tell them you may run the risk and may be affected by it a little bit more. But the fact that it's talked about, but it's so almost nonchalant, like in a way that there's no emotion, then that makes a big difference. If they bring up higher interest rates, I'll ask them, hey, do you know the highest interest rate that I've seen before? And they'll say yes or no. Oh yeah, well, maybe
yes.
This. Right? Yes. So I've helped somebody with an interest rate of 15 to 16%. So though interest rates are a little higher than they were about a year ago, these aren't high. And do you know what the interest rates at this rate are doing for our market?
No.
They're helping sustain our market right now.
All right, so I just had a friend who was writing offers, and they said they had wrote multiple offers. And so I was just curious, like, what is your strategy? Like, how are we going to get our offer accepted? Because I don't know if we have 5 months in us. I don't know if we can write on tons and tons of properties. Like, what is the strategy?
Oh my gosh. Well, number one, I'm so sorry for what your friend went through writing offers for 5 months. The good news is when we work together, there are a few different strategies and tactics that we'll work through together. If you have not noticed yet, I'm pretty proactive. So number one, we're going to rip your Band-Aid off very quickly, and we're going to identify your pre-approval amount. But not just that, we're going to figure out what your high end is, your comfortable level, and your low end. And from there, we're going to start doing a little bit of homework. I don't want to take you to be a window shopper, and I don't want to put you through that extra emotion. So would it be fair to say that we're only going to look at things that you've given me your list for and that fall within your pre-approval amount?
Yeah, that's okay with me.
Perfect. So we're going to set the expectation there because, as I mentioned to you previously, I'm sure you're aware too, houses don't sell for list price. That's just to catch you and get your foot in the door, right?
Correct.
Perfect. So what we're going to do too is once we hone in on one specific area, I'm going to start looking at what houses have already sold for before we step foot in a door. So we know if we can even compete with what this property could likely sell over asking price for. So that's part of the strategy. And then
Good.
the other thing too is the way that we write our offer. And you remember those get out of jail free cards that I talked to you about that are called contingencies?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we're going to want to make sure that as long as the house matches, that if we can, we're able to compete with those. We may have to remove some, we may have to keep them in, or even escalate the amount of days. You're okay with that, right?
Correct.
Perfect. So that, along with making sure that the top 3 things that I'll do is I'll make sure that I speak to the listing agent. So when we're writing an offer, we're not just writing it blindly. I'm building rapport with the listing agent. I'm identifying what's important to the sellers and making sure that I bring that information back to you so we can write a fair, educated, and competitive offer. Does that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me. Awesome. Let's pause there. Let's give Jess just a giant round of applause. Let's give her some love. Let's give her some kudos. And I want to actually open it up to you guys. I want to hear some feedback from you. But Jess, this is spot on. You do something really, really well. This is called tie downs. And a tie down is that every sequence of your presentation and where you're taking the client, you're asking them for some confirmation, right? Does that make sense, right? Do you agree with that? So you're getting buy-in at every step of the way. So it's not you telling them something, it's them actually stating or restating and agreeing with what you just said. This is like NLP at the core. And I really love how you do this. Remember this, you guys, every single consumer out there, and I said this, and I don't want to be offensive to anybody, people are sheep. And they're led by a shepherd, and the shepherd is the headlines. They are reading and seeing all this, and then they meet with you, and what do they have on their shoulders or in the back of the head? They have all these headlines. So they're waiting for you to either amplify that myth or that headline, or they're leaning to you, that 55% of people, to give them accurate advice of what's actually happening in the real estate market. And so I think you did a really, really good job on that. And you made me feel like, okay, all right, well, so what? What if it does? I'm not planning on moving in the next 5 to 7 years. So I'm okay. So just really good job at NLP at like the core and making sure that you're asking them questions so that they understand throughout. So I want to hear from a couple of you guys, and then we're going to go on. I need 4 more people to raise their hand. Jeff Phillips, what were some things that you heard that you can put into your flow, or you can put into the way that you're communicating with consumers? Let's hear from you, Jeff.
Bling, bling. Boy, that was fire.
Straight up,
I really
straight up.
liked her tonality. Like, I'm over here stretching. I was doing the ropes while she was talking, and it had me calm on the ropes. I was like, oh, okay. My breathing's underway. I'm like, okay. Like, it was kind of like a song, like you vibing with it. It was real like spiritual and floetry. But I also really, really liked when she talked about breaking down the pre-approval. And she said it in a very calm, but very precise tone about, hey, we're going to talk about your high end. We're going to talk about where you're comfortable at. And we're going to talk about where you're low end. And we're going to go and look at homes that are within this, that sounds correct, right? That was beautiful because it stops them. It keeps them it anchors them to understanding that we got to stay within this range. And also it lets them know that when a lender does pre-approve them, they're also gonna get pre-approved at like this high amount that they may not feel comfortable with, but that's not where we need to go to. And I actually just had this with my last client. So that's why I say this is fire, and it's something that I'm gonna actually implement, because I will take full accountability. I didn't explain it well enough that he was gonna have a high number with what he gets pre-approved. And then there's gonna be the number where he's comfortable at. So it was something that we had a conversation again, like a couple of times on, because I didn't explain it well enough. So that's going to be a tool that I'm about to drop into. You'll see it now on my buyer's consultation. When we talk about the pre-approval process, you're going to see me with my hands too, giving them, hey, this is where this is at. This is where this is at. This is where this is at. And we want to fall within that. So now you're not going out there looking at $800,000 houses when you're pre-approved for 600,000, and we all find those people that do that. So great job, Jess. Appreciate you.
I love this. I love this. Really, really good job. We'll come to Dominique in a moment. Here's the thing that we need to get in front of, and this is everybody, our brand new agents and our experienced agents on the call. We need to get in front of what they're thinking. I think Jess really gave you a great example and said, okay, now we're going to talk. So tell me what you know and what you understand about the current state of the real estate market and where you're getting your information, right? Because they could have fallen in this 29% of people that are getting from friends, colleagues, neighbors, their uncle that sold 16 homes in Massachusetts 17 years ago and is an expert on all things real estate. They all have those people in their life. So it's important that we understand, what do you know about the current state of the real estate market and where are you getting your information? Wonderful. Now, let me share with you the reality of what is actually happening and how I get offers accepted in this competitive environment. So you change their narrative. So Jess, I think you did a really good job addressing the elephants in the room, because sometimes we're fearful of doing that. And I think that you got right out in front of it. Now you have a clean slate. So really good job. Dominique, let's hear from you. Kind of current state of the market conversation, where you're at, because you've been seeing quite a bit with your listings and, 3 escrows at one time. So let's hear from you, Dominique. And I need a couple more people. Throw your hands up.
Yeah, so basically, I think that everything that I do, I use it as a learning curve, because I'm always humble enough to know that I don't know everything yet. And I know that the market is constantly changing. So with the listings we've had on the market, I was able to see the buyer sides and obviously the seller side. And when I posted my agent spotlight video, I had 2 sellers reach out to me, potential sellers. So actually I have 2 leads from that. And they were kind of concerned about the market, because the news is saying that the interest rates are so high and it's like a buyer's market and things like that. But what I was able to do is combat that with my current listings and the few that just sold, and show them how many offers we're getting on these and how fast they could have went pending. But we decided to wait because sellers wanted a full open house weekend. So with those numbers, and like Jess was saying, always bringing facts, you have to bring facts of the situations that you're in, because that's going to help your potential clients gauge the market better. So they can hear what they're going to hear on the news. But if you're showing them and you're telling them this is what this is for X, Y, and Z, then they're going to lean more towards what you're saying, because you have real life numbers.
So let me ask you, so from your last 3 listings, can you walk us through some of the activity? How many people came to the open houses? How many offers? And, if you give us a range of where you landed over asking price.
So for instance, our Antioch one, we could have had an offer accepted within 24 hours. But like I said, sellers wanted to wait a whole weekend to have Saturday, Sunday, and we did Monday open house too. So we did 3 days for them. And we had so much activity. I would say a total of close to about 90 for the whole weekend. And this was Memorial Day weekend, where people were out doing barbecues, on boats and things like that. So that was actually a really good turnout that we did not expect. And we had at least a handful asking about preemptives. We did not accept. We ended up with 13 offers, really 14, but it came in after our offer time. And we got in contract for 651. We were at 692. We were at 592. We got in contract at 651. And honestly, we don't think it's going to appraise for that much. However, we put in a clause asking them if they would make up the difference if it didn't, and they were down for it. They signed it and said they would, because they really wanted it. And another fact that I wanted to tell you guys, what I noticed was out of those 13, only 2 were conventional. The other ones were FHA, or they were loans that were given with programs to help the buyer. So a lot of these people coming in are having programs or FHA assistance, or going the FHA route for lower down payment. And only 2 were conventional. Our clients were only comfortable with conventional, if I'm being real honest.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, and then as far as our one in Chinatown, our 1-bedroom, 1-bath condo, that one barely had anybody come to the opens. And I don't know if it has a lot to do also with like the parking around there. We had a lot of saves and a lot of views on Zillow. We always gauge our numbers by that way too, about with all the different like Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. And we thought we were going to sit for a lot longer, but somebody came in all cash. 375 all cash, and they're ready to do it, and we're going to close like within the next week. And so there's buyers out there, and they're aggressive to where they're going to write even though they don't think it's going to appraise, but they want it because inventory is so low. So if you have something turnkey ready, you have all your things in order, and your listing is presented well, you're going to have those buyers come and they're going to flood you.
All right, so here's the thing why these calls are important on Wednesday is I want you guys to not only hear different dialogue, different ways to interpret what's happening in the market, but I want you to write down third-party stories. So the next, excuse me, if you have a buyer that is looking in Antioch, you have a seller that is considering putting their house on the market in Antioch, listen to this data, like listen to this. I actually know somebody, I know a house, I know it had X amount of people come through for an open house. These are really, really powerful stories that you guys can use to share with sellers the demand and tell buyers, hey, this is what we're going to be up against. So if we're going to write an offer, we need to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. So absolutely love this, Dominique. Anything else? Any other sentiment on this conversation? Cool. Awesome. All right. So let's go. Katie, you serve a different market. Before I get to you, Manny, I want to go to you, my man. You are up in the Sacramento area. So Manny, talk to me over the last 30 days. What's it been like for you on your side in regards to new applications? What are you seeing in regards to terms, things like that, man? Give us a quick high-level update from your vantage point on what you're seeing in your market up in Sac.
Still a lot of buyers coming out. I get referred quite a few people. Unfortunately, a lot of them just can't afford homes with the going rate of homes in Sacramento. So a lot of people that are under, say, $80,000 a year in income. So a little disheartening for them. Still a lack of inventory in the Sacramento area, especially people looking in the Placer County, Roseville, Rockland area. I mean, that's probably starting out at the $600,000 range. So, and that's the most desirable part. So yeah, sometimes when I do write a pre-qual and I consult with the realtor on what this person might be looking for, they're wanting a better school district in, say, Del Paso Heights or North Highlands, but that's really what they can afford. So, but yeah, just inventory is still the problem. Rates, I think we could get past the rate thing because the desire to buy is there for a lot of these folks. It's the move up buyers that I think I'm missing that I used to have. The people that are, wanting to get into a bigger home for room for their family, or the other way around, trying to get into a smaller home. I think those people are just sitting pretty right now. So.
And do you believe that they're sitting pretty because they're on a 3.5 interest rate?
I mean, I had that conversation a lot, and quite honestly, for my wife and I, we're empty nesters now since 2020. We had 3 boys at one point, and we live like in a 3,000 square foot home in Roseville, which is way too big for us in terms of maintenance. We have a pool that we don't use, we use very infrequently. That's costing us a lot of money. But it's like, what are we going to do? Like, are we going to move into a $1 million house and pay higher property taxes and an interest rate, or just keep paying off what we got? So I think we're probably just going to renovate as we need to and just kind of sit here. So.
Good stuff, Manny. Good stuff. I appreciate your contribution. Katie, let's hear from you. So you serve more the Tri-Valley. It's called the Tri-Valley, right? Is that your specialty? Is that your area mostly?
Yeah, we are starting to expand our business towards Dublin, Pleasanton now. We have been doing business in Hayward, Union City, and Fremont and beyond. But now we're trying to step into Dublin and Pleasanton market because we are seeing a lot of people moving from Fremont to Dublin and Pleasanton, because when we were holding open house in Pleasanton, the listing was about $2 million. It wasn't our listing, it was someone else's, but I called them and then they gave us the open houses. And I would say about 90% of the people came from Fremont to
Wow.
the 90%. And same thing in Dublin as well. Like, we hosted this event over the weekend, and the people that were coming to our booth, we talked to them, and people that coming into the Dublin Park as well, they're coming from all the way from San Leandro, Castro Valley, Fremont, San Ramon, Pleasanton, Dublin. So people are getting a feel of like how Dublin is and like how it is in the sense of like livability, right? And when we talked to them, they were like, first we want to get a feel of Dublin, how the way the schooling is and all that, and then we try to make a move out here. And the main factor of people moving in those areas is schooling. Because the schooling out there is at least a rated 9 out of 10. There are some that are 10 out of 10 as well. And people are willing to pay even $100,000, $200,000 above asking price as well. When people came to our open house in Pleasanton, they were asking us like, how much do you think the house is going to be selling for? It was listed at 1.99 something. And the listing agent was okay because he was also the seller for the property. He was okay with accepting an offer close to 2.1 because he was talking to me back and forth. That was, I think, his second deal or so. So we were like, back and forth with like how he should be marketing and all that stuff as well. I was also trying to get a listing from him, like, if you can split up the listing in Pleasanton, but he was not okay with that. So, but I helped him out. I was like, just go with at least 2.1. That's what the market's dictating for this one. Seems like he sold for way higher than that. And he pocketed a lot of money. And
Go ahead.
And the days where we were doing the open houses, we had about 15 people come in each day. So about 30 groups on the weekdays. We did Thursdays and Fridays.
And is it safe to say that most people that are looking at homes there, do they understand the magnitude of what they're going to have to write over? Or is this something that you're having to share with them? Listen, if you're moving from Fremont, Hayward, and you're coming out to this market, chances are we're going to have to, write an offer that's significantly over asking price. Are they already under that understanding, or is this a conversation that you're having to have with a lot of people out there?
So seems like they already know how the market's looking like because they do their homework before they come into open houses, right? Some of them, they have agents. So we just let them know like, hey, it's better like if you talk to your agent regarding this, because we don't want to be stepping on anyone's toes like that. But if they don't have anything signed and they're okay with like, having second opinions as well, then we talk to them regarding like how everything is. But seems like they have most of their homework done. Like they know that the house price is not going to, list price is not the price they will be getting the property at. It's definitely going to be going $100,000, $200,000 above asking price. Or if it's been sitting on the market for a while, then it's going to be, there is more room for negotiations.
So let me ask you from a consumer standpoint, they're talking to you, they see a house in Danville, they want to write the $200,000 over, it's a competitive home, but then they're concerned with being in positive equity. Like, is this a good deal? Is this a smart financial decision? Like, what does that conversation sound like with you and your consumers when they have those trepidations and those fears, even though they understand that they're going to have to write over, but they're like, oh my God, is this a good investment? Are we going to get into positive equity in the next couple of years? How are you having those conversations with the consumer?
So we try to explain them initially as, right now it's less competition versus how it was during the pandemic. We're receiving almost like 30, 40 offers. So if you look at it right now in Dublin, the max offers received in the month of May was 15 offers. I mean, that was a property that was listed underpriced. And a lot of people thought it's going to be selling around that price point because it was sitting on the market for a while as well. But if you look on average, we're receiving 4 to 5 offers in the Dublin market right now. So if you're trying to be competitive, let's look at this way. Interest rate is something that's not going to stay the same throughout the years, right? If you have the financial means that you can afford the house right now and you have the monthly mortgage that you can afford, I would say it's worth to put an offer on a property and get it right now, because down the line, looking at the stats for Dublin, that's been increasing over time. Like right now, even though houses are selling at 103%, but we know from the graph we see that it's going to be increasing pretty fast on a faster pace. And the good thing is it's less competition right now. We have a foot in the door and stay in the home for, if you're going to be staying in the home for at least 3 years, then we know, like, you know, you're going to be moving out with some equity from those properties.
Wow, well said, well said. I love this. Really great job, man. I appreciate this contribution. Otis, let's go to you, and then Romel, and then we'll have time for probably 2 more. So Otis, what are you seeing? What's the sentiment, the conversations you're having with consumers right now? Give me some high level conversation here.
Shout out to Jess. That shit had me fired to raise my hand. Just simple up put. Dominique, congratulations to your 3 in escrow. What I'm seeing is my business takes me everywhere. I'm highly on online leads, so it could be Oakland, it could be Solano County, Hayward. I mean, I've gone all the way to King City, so I go where the deal takes me. I just got bullet points, what I kind of tell my clients, and like how we've just been talking. Like, I set the bar from the very beginning, knowing exactly if they're pre-approved or not, and if we'll go with a pre-approval, just the amount and where we're going. Elias, I don't ever want to max you out. I know you're at 700, but there could be something that we could find at 600, 625, 650. There could be something with a couple of bumps and bruises that you may love, and we can make it happen. Out here in Solano County, where you're looking at, there's probably one of the only markets that you'll still see some price reductions or a seller willing to give you some credit. It's been like this for quite a while, and it's probably only one of the last places that's going to do this. So you being out there, we're already at a plus. I know you're worried about interest rates, but don't worry. You have a pre-approval already, but if there's something that you feel that is out there that can make you better, make us better as a whole, Christina, one of my personal lenders, she's doing a 1% permanent buy down, not a 3-2-1, not a 2-1 where it's going to look different for a while and then over time go back to what it should be. This will be permanently in that 30-year loan. And there's other people seeing where rates are going, that Rocket Mortgage is reaching out to me and a couple of other lenders. So maybe we can see some other options to give us higher purchase power. In that, credits, closing costs, maybe you only have your down payment, and that's fine. I've helped plenty of people out here in Solano County get closing costs paid in full. Right now, as those rates continue to go up, that is something that we can easily get. There's also new builds that are coming in. There's some that are already built, and then we're going to get a good return back. We can get maybe a couple of 100,000, maybe 80,000, 70, 60,000. There can be a deal there. There's always a deal, but I have to be prepared. So if you're having the desire to buy, you have to have the rebuttal from fear. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to anybody that's not in this profession, because they're not in the field. They're not seeing the day-to-day. They're not working out here, working with realtors, working with buyers and sellers. That's my profession. That's what I deal with. So I would be more confident in you, making you more confident in knowing that what you're hearing from me is legit, and it's no fear mongering from the media and people out there. Knowledge is power. We come to circuits every day where we see people out here and we talk about what's going on. So I'm not alone. There's other people going through stuff that I'm going through as a realtor to help me be better. Also, doing the homework. This person may have a huge amount of equity in 10 to 15,000 to help us get down to where we need to be. Won't be so hard of an argument. So just bearing with me and knowing that out here, there is a big difference. We're going to see the difference between 4 to 5 offers. And that's really good for me to be able to negotiate. Now, being in a 40 to 50 offer range, it's going to be really hard for us guys to get that done. So I just want to set the expectation that we might not win. We probably won't win, but I just want to make sure that if you're in this with me and you have the desire to buy, we will find you a home at a price that you will be comfortable with.
Let's pause for a second. Otis, I mean, well said, like masterful in the way that you're putting your messaging across. Here's what you're seeing in a trend that everyone that has spoke. The trend is setting expectations and being very, very clear that I'm super versatile in my approach. I'm going to educate you. I'm going to advocate for you. I'm going to pull resources. I'm going to share with you the reality of what's actually happening in the real estate market. When you're with me, you're with an expert, and every single person that has spoke has displayed that level of expertise. This, what you guys are hearing, wasn't like this a year ago, 2 years ago for these individuals. It wasn't. They've worked on this. They've worked on this. They've practiced this, and you guys can tell, you can hear it, and you can feel it. I'm going to go to a couple people right now. Let's go to Shelly. Shelly, based on what you just heard from Otis, what were some things that you heard that stood out for you?
So kind of like you had said in the past, overall, like everyone that has spoken, they have this flow and this confidence. And that is what I think as a buyer and as a seller has always stood out to me in realtors that I've ever worked with and that I've tried to work on myself when I'm doing script role playing and stuff like that. Because when you feel comfortable with your agent, you feel comfortable that they know what they're doing, that you are going to get where you need to be. And they emit that energy, and they know that you can tell that they study the market. You could tell that they study what they're doing all the time. They're on top of it. And that is what I got from both Jess and just everyone that's been speaking, really.
Yeah, and you guys, this should be in your calendar. This should message to market is just like tracking your business in Sisu. This should be a part of your flow no matter what. You study, you research, you gain all this knowledge, and then you articulate it and you practice it. So when somebody talks with you, they know that they're working with a different type of agent. They're working with a different type of agent because the way that you communicate and you convey the information about the reality of what's actually happening in the real estate market. So I love that, Shelly. Let's go to one other person. Let's go to Law. Law, what's one thing that you heard from Otis that you said, wow, I could actually apply that into what I'm doing right now? You're muted, bro.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Giving suggestions on different price points. To be very honest, I am still working on the 30-day checklist, so I haven't done very much of talking to clients at this point.
Part of the 30-day checklist is practice that message to market. So as soon as you get live with the client, you actually can roll with them. And I'm glad that you said, Shelly, like the rhythm of this. I always feel this, like we're all in this new band, right? And I'm a music junkie, so I always try to make music correlations. You all are given an instrument. You might not be able to play it that well. It's kind of clunky. But now what you're doing is you're finding a way to just have some rhythm. Your presentation and your flow should be like this. It should have a cadence. It should have a feel. It should have a rhythm to it. And that only comes through practice. It only comes through practice. This is, you guys, one of the most important things that you guys are going to do in your career. And so I'm loving seeing and hearing the evolution in law. It's just a matter of time. You practice this, practice it. It starts to become second nature. So I appreciate the contribution. Ramel, let's hear from you, big dog.
Okay, so I had a client that found a house in their ideal neighborhood, which was Jingletown in Oakland. You don't hear that very often. It's not the greatest neighborhood, but there are pockets that are pretty cool, especially closer to Alameda. So
you have one of the best restaurants in Oakland in Jingletown. So I like Jingletown.
Okay, I want to hear about that. So this is almost a perfect storm, a little bit unusual. So the buyer had already moved out of town. The property had been on the market for about 21 days. They didn't have any offers. Reached out to the listing agent, told him about my client's really interested in it. We established a really good rapport. She let me know what the buyer's expectations was, which is about 800K. The comps were sparse to almost zero for that area, trying to validate that asking price. Essentially, he wanted a quick sale. Like I said, he'd already moved out of town. He already had a home. So we came in about $35,000. The asking price, we had it on the market for $697. We came in at $735. Inspection contingency removed. We're thinking that's a pretty strong offer, even though it's much lower than their expectations. They countered us at $775, and here's where it got kind of challenging. So my client was stuck on that $775 number. They just were stuck. They didn't want to pay more than what they offered, but I had to explain to them, along with the lender, we did a worksheet where we looked at, if you went up to $775, would this still be within your comfortable payment per month? And what is the change in that payment from our offer to $775? So we did the worksheet. They really were only going to be paying about $200 more per month at that offer price. They told me they wanted to come back counter offer with $760, which is a $15,000 gap, and only about $100 difference between those prices, monthly prices. I try to do my best to give them the big picture, but they were stuck on, we're paying $775, but it's the house that you want and the neighborhood you want. we were the only offer on the table at the time. And it was heartbreaking because they, even though we sat with the lender, I explained to them the kind of payment difference, and it stayed within their budget still if we went to 775, and they opted to pass on that. So it was, I don't know if it was a rookie mistake. I didn't paint a compelling enough picture, but it was a lesson learned for me, but also for them, that if you find a house that you really want and the payment still works for your budget, you got to go for it. And it's a competitive market, and we didn't even really have competition. So it was a challenging deal, and I wish we had been able to succeed at that. But
So knowing what you know now from this, what do you think you'll do different on the next transaction?
I think I will be more paint a stronger picture of how what it is that we found that they wanted, that it still works with their budget, and then it's a good investment to go with right now. And understanding that it doesn't really get better than that if we stay within our budget and it gets to be the property that you want, and just explaining that a little bit better.
Wow. Well, good stuff, man. I mean, great learning opportunity. And that restaurant that I was mentioning is called Champa Garden. If you don't know about it.
Oh yeah.
I see Jess, one of the best restaurants, I believe, in Oakland, and especially for that area of Oakland. So good stuff. So let's go to Taylor. Taylor, let's start wrapping this up. I want to hear from you. What were some things that you heard from the people that spoke before you that you can kind of put into your flow? Or maybe there was a word or a phrase or a sentiment, some things that maybe you heard that you could say, you know what, I really like the way that they put that across. Taylor, what were some of the things that you heard?
So I really liked the first girl who spoke, how she said, get the elephant out of the room. It kind of reminds me of the book that I've read in the past, Eat the Frog. It's like, just get it out of the way. Like, people are thinking it, you're thinking it, it's uncomfortable, just get it out and address the problem, you know, their questions that they have. And something that I have learned that I like to do is I like to give previous examples of how I've helped my buyers before. So for instance, I just got one closed yesterday, and it was a 5% interest rate. They came to closing with $150 and their payment's $1,800, and they got a home that was off market. And I like to share that story so that way my buyer that I'm having a consultation with, they know that it's true, that I've done this. I know what I'm doing. It makes them, I tell them right now, I can call my client if you want to. So just kind of getting that flow. And I like to give personal examples that I've been through. But the Eat the Frog, like get the elephant out of the room, that's a big one, because I think sometimes I have in the past waited too long to address the problem of interest rates, or, and they end up saying, no, you know what? No, the market's too crazy right now. I don't want to do it. And it's like, I should have addressed that the first 10 seconds we first sat down.
100%. Like, don't tippy toe around this stuff, because they're thinking it, and it's going to come up, and it could come up at a time where it doesn't serve them and it doesn't serve you. It comes up later, like, well, hold on a second. Knowing that I should have got in front of that and not tiptoed around that and really faced it head on.
That, and sometimes, they go to someone else and they ask the question. They find their cousin who is in and out of real estate, but it was their cousin, so they were able to ask the question openly. So now it's kind of like, I just eat the frog.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. And when you get in front of something head on early on, you guys are actually going to be closer, and you're going to be deeper in rapport because you actually address something that they're already thinking about, and then you help them come to a different narrative. That's a huge responsibility for us, you guys. So really good contribution, Taylor. Appreciate that. Jeff, you had your hand up, or is that a new hand, or is that an old hand?
It's a new hand. I just wanted to emphasize to everybody how important what Romel did in his transaction. Even though it didn't work, it's not always going to work, but how important that was, because that does increase, what he did there was increase his odds of it might working. And that's the biggest thing, especially when you match that, like, hey, if we go over asking price, your new mortgage payment will be this, and here are the comparables that justify that price for this. And so when you match them together and you get the painting the picture, it comes. But I actually learned that from you, Elias, way back, 2 years ago, when you had that client out in Oakley, and we were talking about that. And I was like, they're going to have to go over asking price. And you were like, slow down. Let's actually break down what that means to go over asking price, because the consumer hears $60,000 over asking price, but they don't formulate that into amortized over 30 years. and oh, it only changes my mortgage payment by $120 and it still falls within my budget. Oh yeah, wait, why wouldn't I do this? You know, so how important that is, it doesn't work every time, but it does increase your chances of it working that one time you do need it to. So Romel, you did a great job with that. Don't beat yourself up too much. You know, you're going to learn how to paint the picture better. You got to be accountable and like, okay, how can I get better? But that tool right there is something that I've used every single time. And actually how I got into this last contract, which we're about to fall out because of inspections more. Hey, look, go break down the numbers. And they were like, oh shit, it only changed it by that much. Oh yeah, we can do that. We can actually go higher. Cool, no problem. So it works when it works, and you just need to keep that in your toolbox.
Yeah, I totally agree. So yeah, great lessons to be learned here and apply, you know, in the future. I had a client once tell his wife that it's a Starbucks a day. And he said, we're really going to walk away from this opportunity to become homeowners for Starbucks a day. He said, babe, I'll stop drinking coffee if that's all it takes is a Starbucks. It was literally, it came to like $6 a day. And they're like, wait, what are we talking about here? And so I actually really love this conversation. So let's do this, you guys. I want to start coming full circle on this. But before we do, a couple changes for tomorrow. If you attend script role play session tomorrow is going to be at 9 o'clock instead of 10. I had to make a change for tomorrow. So we'll go back to the normal schedule next week. But if you are going to participate, it is tomorrow at 9 a.m., same room as always. Also, I'm going to be starting a 30-day accountability challenge, and this is an opt-in. Now, I want to tell you what it is, and if you want to opt in for this group, you're going to DM me on Slack telling me why you want to opt in for this. Now, I'm only looking for 50 people. The opt-in is agent intensity. This is a full accountability, full tilt. And here's what I mean by that. You guys can all come to group coaching and you could decide whether or not you're going to take action on the things that we talk about. That's your choice. But if you don't, and for some reason there's a disconnect, you could still come back on Friday, right? That's okay. This platform is designed to be able to be here to push you. Agent intensity is going to be a little bit different. If you're not tracking on CSU, if you didn't hit your appointments met, if you didn't write contracts, if you didn't go and show homes, then it is a one strike and you're out of the program. It's literally every 30 days, we're going to do that. If you want to be part of that, it is opt in. It is going to be high levels of accountability. It is going to be tracking on CSU. It's going to make sure that you guys are doing every single thing that we talk about here. And there's just going to be a tighter accountability. So if you're down for that, we're going to do that, and we're going to start it June 15th. So if you want in on that, 50 people only, you guys have to message me on Slack. So if you guys are ready for that and you feel that this is going to be something that's going to help you elevate, which I know it will, then hit me. And we're going to do small accountability group, and it's going to feel a little bit different. It's going to be agent intensity. Yo, Jeff, was that a new hand? Okay, old hand. Okay, cool. So let's do this, you guys. I'm going to go around the room and get a couple key takeaways from people on the call today. Let's go to Ashley G. Let's go to Tia. Let's go to Johnny. Let's have you start out. Ashley G, once you contribute, if you can put your camera on, please. Ashley going once, Ashley going twice. Cool. We are going to move on.
I'll go. Let me just put some clothes on. I'll go last.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Tia, I know that you're home with the baby and everything, but Tia, if you can throw your camera on, let's hear your takeaways from our time together today. Tia, let's go. You're muted.
Hey.
Hi.
Yeah, I just came back home with the dog. I was walking him. So a couple key takeaways. I really just overall like everybody's confidence and how calm they are. And that's something that I need to implement, because sometimes when I don't know what I'm saying, I get really nervous and then I start talking even faster. And it's for the person on the other side, I think that's hard to sometimes understand, even like, especially with my accent. And once I start talking really fast, they're like, whoa, what's going on? And it actually makes them want to take a step back. So I want to slow down, calm down. I know what I'm talking and I just need to trust myself.
I love this. And you know what? I personally think that you have a very, very calm approach, tone, but I heard, you know, when you get nervous, you start to speed things up. And so this is good to recognize, Tia, because that's something that you can 100% control. It's 100%
Yeah.
control. It's because you study more, you practice that out loud, and great job throwing that in the chat saying, hey, I'm down for an accountability role play session today, this afternoon. Who's down? Like, great job, really great job. And I love it how you're stepping up. Let's go to Johnny Tran, JT, big dog. If you can contribute key takeaways from today, and I need your camera on, and there you are. Let's hear from you, JT, key takeaways from our time together today.
I mean, I was really blown away, especially by, by Jess and, Otis, Jeff, Dominique, the way they talk to their clients. It was just so poised, so confident, so knowledgeable. So it definitely really inspires me to really dive deeper into the script role playing and really learn the market as much as I can always. And yeah, just keep practicing the scripts.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to do this rapid fire really quick. I'm going to go Jess, Otis, and then I think Dominique had to jump off. But Jess, how long do you think it took you to have this level of confidence in the way that you articulate about the market? I think you're a confident person in general, on a personal level, but how long do you feel it took you to have this level of confidence in the way that you articulate the message to market? Go.
I'm stuck. Oh, wait, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. My mute wouldn't come up. I'll be honest, it's an ongoing thing. I've been doing real estate for 5 years, and with the market changing all the time, you're learning all the time. And that's it. You got to show up, have the conversations, and get your ass in script and role play, period.
I love this. I love this. Great stuff. Otis White, how long, man?
Oh man, I was a closet realtor for a long time. I tried to do it myself, didn't work. Came back to Team Fast, the team building me up. I'd say a good 6 to 9 months. And then like my first 3 deals after I graduated, it was like until then and still now, when it comes to single families, any area, ain't shit nobody can tell me. The other realtor on the other side better be ready.
Oh, you muted yourself halfway through that, bro.
I'm sorry. It just takes the confidence, you know what I'm saying? Knowing what you're doing. And it took a while. Like I used to get panic attacks, and I'm used to emceeing and hosting in front of 3, 4, 5, 20,000 people at concerts and shit. So just learning the verbiage and learning what you need to know is key. But then also thing, like Elias said, is you got to get out there, get off the stoop and fucking go work, because it's never going to work unless you're out there practicing.
I love this. I love this. Jeff, rapid fire, big dog. How long did it take you to perfect this message to market? And I know that this is ongoing. It's a constant evolution, but Jeff, let's hear from you.
Shit, I didn't do my first deal for 2 years. So, and then from there, once I got onto the team, that was the biggest thing. Knowing the playbook and then learning the playbook. So once I got on the team, I would say it probably took me a good 6 months of just being like, all right, I know exactly when Elias's buyer's consultation starts. It starts at 9:27 and it ends at 32:24, because that was the minutes that you did for the actual consultation. I studied it that close to where I knew exactly when to start, when to stop. So it took me a good like 6 months, but it took me 2 years to do my first deal. So if you're still going through your thing and it's ever changing, like you said, it's a marathon, but if you really just dive in, give yourself all the opportunities, burn the boats, get in front of everybody, you'll learn it quick.
I love this. You guys, we said this over and over and over again. You guys are not realtors. You guys are professional marketers, right? That's what each of you are. And every single time that something happens in the marketplace, change with interest rates, COVID, all these things, it is your responsibility as a personal ad campaign to be able to manage that message to market. So you're constantly evolving and changing. That is part of your job. So you guys have to make sure that you're studying the market, understand, okay, here's what's happening with consumer behavior. This is probably what I should be saying right now. And your arsenal is growing and growing and growing. That we started off as a police officer with only a small set of tools, and now you're, in the task force, and you have all this weaponry, and that's your words. You guys, be masterful at your words. Be a swordsmith with your words, and I promise you great things will come, because they will feel, consumers, that it's different when they communicate with you guys. So my hope is this. My hope and my intent from these sessions on Wednesday is that you guys hear from other people that you can say, you know what, that's something I could instantly put into my game. Also, listen to the third-party stories. Become third-party story junkies. So when you talk to a client, be like, you know what, Mitch, Actually, I just had one of my colleagues represent a buyer out in Antioch, and here's what I know firsthand about the Antioch market. Wow, that many people came in an open house? Yeah. So they had 14 offers. That means 13 other families are still in the market. Do you think that that's going to increase, competition or decrease? Well, it's obviously going to increase, right? So here's what we need to do in order to get your offer accepted. You guys use these stories to help you clearly define what's actually happening in the marketplace, you guys. So make sure that you're taking notes, go back and watch the recording. But you guys, it's officially 9:30. I appreciate you guys for showing up. Beyond grateful for you guys' time, your effort, and your energy. So great job today. Way to bring the fire. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. And if you're coming into Walnut Creek today, looking forward to seeing you guys later on today. Peace.
What's popping in Walnut Creek?
Business planning review, 12 to 2, bro. Roll through.